What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 3, the reunion, part 2. Whichever one. Before we get into the review, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel, I'm gonna need you guys to do me the biggest favor you can do. And that is to stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. And you can do that by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning your notifications on, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out the way, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 3 Reunion, Part 2. All right, you guys, so this reunion, we pick back up where we left off in the last one. Now, you guys remember in part 1 of the reunion, Carlos ended us on a cliffhanger. And that cliffhanger was him asking Martell that if he had met Arian Curry before he met Melody, would he have married the woman, right? So we had to pause, right? But when we picked this episode up, Martell didn't answer that question. So I was like, that's not a good sign, right? But I mean, let's be real about it, right? Do I think Martell would have married Arian Curry if he hadn't met her before he met Mel? Absolutely not. I don't believe it. Now, you guys can get down in the comment section and let me know what you guys think, but I don't personally think that Martell would have ever married that woman, right? Because even Mel chimed in at one point and she said that, Martell told her if they were not going to be together, that he still wasn't going to go and be with Arian. And, there are parts of me that actually wants to feel bad for that young woman because you put yourself in this position willingly and you see the results of how this man is. I don't know what she was expecting out of this relationship. Maybe it could have just been sexual. I don't know if she wants to be with him and vice versa. So I can't really speak towards that, right? So we find out a little bit more about the situation with Martell and Arian and Melody, right? So Melody said at one point Martell had a second phone and his back was hurt, right? And she saw him, he crept out the room to go to another room. I think she said the bathroom. His black phone was on the counter, but he was down on the ground with another phone. I'm like, when you get to that point, I mean, that is just damn disrespectful, right? And with Martell, well, I'm gonna go ahead and say it now because they already said it. Martell was just greedy. He got greedy, right? He was like, I got my wife and I got her on the side. Like, oh yeah, life is good until life wasn't good, right? Because he was going back and forth between her and Mel. So Mel then said to Carlos, like, you just said to her and said that woman, right, that you don't think that she's the side dish, right? That you feel she's the main course, she's the entire restaurant. And Mel says, well, if that's the case, then why is he seeing other people? Which is actually a very valid question. And like I said last week, she's not the main course. Because if she was the main course, once Melody and Martell got a divorce, right? If she was the main course, Martell would have went in and been in a relationship with her. They would either be in a relationship, engaged to be married, or something like that. They would be a family. But at this point, they're not a family. He won't even say that he loves the woman. So she can't be the full course. She can't be the whole entire restaurant when this man is still not claiming her. So I agreed with Mel, right? So then we found out some more interesting facts about this relationship, right? So we found out that at one point, Marceau had hung around with Martell and with Arian, right? They weren't in Huntsville, they were in Atlanta. And Mel's like, what? He was with her in public? Yeah, so Marceau says, right? So I don't know how the question came up, but Marceau says that Martell is a lot different around, he's a lot different, right? He's different from how he is with Mel and how he is with her. And Carlos asked the question, what do you mean by that? And Mel's like, I've heard that I've heard that from one of his other guy friends. So he was like, what does that mean? And he said he's a little bit more aggressive when he's with her. And I was like, a little bit more aggressive. I'm like, I wonder what does that mean, right? Now, let me backtrack just a little bit, right? So remember, I just told you, Marceau said that he was around Arian and Martell, right? Maurice says he wasn't around them. So we'll get to that in just a minute, right? Now here's my thing with Martell, right? Because Tisha found out about this after Mel found out about Arian, right? And she didn't like that. So then Marceau says he looked at him and said, that's not a good look. And Tisha was like, what do you mean that's not a good look? And Mel said, that's the difference between a Honda and a Rolls Royce. And Martell says, you both got a degree from the same place. And she's like, Honda, Rolls Royce, Martell. And he's like, I got a baby with her, and I don't like that y'all disrespecting her. Here's my thing with Martell, right? Okay. I'm going to give you that one, right? You got a child with her, and you don't want nobody disrespecting the mother of your kid, right? But what do you say to the mother of your child who disrespects your wife? Now ex-wife, but at the time she was still your wife. You guys had not divorced, when she was going around talking to anybody who would listen to her. What is that? Explain that to me exactly. So then we had this conversation with Kimmy, right? So Kimmy's thing is, and I'm actually on Kimmy's side, and I'm in agreement with what Kimmy said 100%, right? I agreed with Kimmy. Because Kimmy is like, if I'm out in public with my girlfriend, right, and she's clearly cheating on her husband, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be like, you know what, I don't agree with this situation. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I don't want to be complicit in this, so I'm gonna get my ass up and I'm gonna leave, right? Because Marceau stayed, and Marceau's like, what was I supposed to do? Leave and call Tisha so she can call Melody? And Kim was like, that's not what I'm saying. And then Maurice chimed in and he agreed with Marceau as well. He's like, his thing is, even if I leave, I still know about it, basically, right? So the best way to stop it or let it be known that I'm not happy with it is to stay. And I was like, I don't follow that logic. My bad, you guys didn't mean to burp me. I'm like, I don't follow that logic, right? Because if I don't agree with it, I'm gonna be like, you know what? You, my friend, love you to death, right? But this right here, I don't agree with it, right? You are cheating on your husband, who I'm friends with as well. And I just don't want to be complicit in this. This is just not my cup of tea. So you know what? With that, I just gotta distance myself from it. Now, if you choose to keep up this relationship, keep me out of it, right? And I'll be like, you don't have to worry about me running my mouth to your husband, your wife, whatever. You ain't got to worry about that. But I'm just letting it be known right here, right now. I don't agree with it. I don't want to be in the circle of this, and I don't want to be around him. Now, me and you, love you. We friends. But keep me out of this circle, triangle, whatever you want to call it. Keep me out of it. So I was on Kimmy's side, right? So then we pause and we go to, they go to lunch, right? So we see Melody. She's talking to, her mother, her team. I felt bad for Mel, right? Because Mel somehow she hates Huntsville because of the laws there, right? She can't get full primary custody of her kids because she has to prove that Martell is an unfit father. And then, we had Kimmy and Maurice talking. Kimmy and Maurice are at an impasse because they can't agree on, Kimmy has her stance about, how things should have been handled. And Maurice has his stance on how things should have been handled. Like I said a minute ago, I'm on Kimmy's side. And then we have Tisha and Marceau talking, right? Tisha made some sense talking about the fact that, Martell wants people to respect that woman, but she ain't even respected your wife. He said ex-wife. Semantics, right? Because at the time, Melody was still his wife when she was doing the things that she was doing. So semantics, Marceau. And then, she's like, and, so the time that Marceau was around Arian and Martell, they were on a boys' trip in Atlanta. And Marcel's gonna lie for his brother, right? He gonna keep it. He gonna lie for his brother. Like, I don't remember. She's like, Maurice was there. I don't know why Maurice said he wasn't there, but Maurice was there because that was a boys' trip that you guys went on. And I was like, ooh, the plot thickens. So why? And I wondered the question: why did he lie? Because I mean, if it was a boys' trip, that don't mean that you. Never mind. Let's move on. All right, you guys. So we're gonna pause here and move on. All right, you guys. So now we have Destiny. Destiny has joined us on stage, right? Wasn't the biggest fan of Destiny's dress. Really wasn't. So she's on stage with us, and Carlos, he's welcoming her to the stage. I'm like, we're gonna have to put a prayer cloth over you. She was like, ain't none of these men up here looking at me. He says, I am, and I don't even like women. So Carlos starts out, he hit her with a curveball. Well, not a curveball. He hit her with a fast one real quick, right? So Carlos asked Destiny what happened between she and LeBuick, right? And she says it was a lot, right? They went from not living in the same state to each other to she moved down to Huntsville. Then she got pregnant, and then COVID hit. So their little marriage dealt with, they marriage did deal with a lot, right? And we're going to add in one more factor in just a minute. Well, actually, we're going to go ahead and add the other factor in. She lived in a different state. Then she moved to Huntsville. She wouldn't take his last name immediately. She got pregnant. Then COVID happened. And then the divorce. So then, Carlos asked her, so a lot of people wonder, we saw you when you came onto the show. You and LeBuick were married, and then this season we come back and you're divorced. So and you really didn't speak on it. So did he, maybe like put a gag order out on you or something? She says no, he didn't. She says I just chose not to speak negatively about him because he is the father of my child, and I can respect that. I can respect, right? I can respect that. I can absolutely respect that, because if she came on the show and she trash talked LeBuick and it looked like what Melody and Martell does, we would have some opinions, right? So I'll give Destiny, I will give her that leeway, right? I'm going to give her that. I don't have an issue with it, right? You don't want to trash talk to the father or the mother of your kids, which I wish is something that with Melody and Martell, we're just going to segue into them real quick. With those two, I just want those two to get into a good point. But I don't think it's going to happen with Martell anytime soon, right? I wish I can get to a point where they can be, just less combative with each other, right? So then Carlos asked her the question, did you cheat in your marriage? She says no. He says, did LeBuick cheat in the marriage? She says no. So there was no cheating. So I'm wondering we know what one of the deal breakers was. It was her taking his last name. But that is not something. So when you go to file for divorce, would he, I guess he probably said irreconcilable differences. Like, that is petty. That really means that you never loved that woman. Like, that just makes me question if you loved her and why did you ask her to marry you? Like, that is petty to me, right? So then Carlos questions Martell because he showed the package, and he showed us that package where Martell went to Destiny's store with them, that box of products that I don't know where he got it from. And remember, Martell told Destiny that that's why she and LeBuick were getting a divorce, because she's like Mel in their mouths, right? So Carlos questioned that, right? And Mel said, yeah, that's a good question. It's a question that I would like to know the answer to. So Martell says, no man wants a woman that's mouthy. And Mel says, well, a woman wants a man that's gonna respect her. True. No man wants a woman that's mouthy. And I'm gonna say this and take no offense to what I say, right? But this is literally, how do I want to say this and keep it clean? Well, not clean. How do I want to say this and not come off disrespect? Well, it's not disrespectful because I've never said this. But that is something that you hear from black men a lot, right? That is one thing that you hear from black men about black women, that black women, they got a lot of mouth. And more specifically, when you hear from black men, it's black men that date outside their race. You know, black men that like to date white women. They love to say that, oh, the reason I'm with a black, I don't date black women is because they talk too goddamn much. You know, they run their mouths. You know, they got the attitudes. They they move their necks and all that shit. That's why I don't date black women. Heard it before, and like I said in a previous video, I don't forget which one it was, but I know I said it in another video that, you know, it's so interesting that black men say black women are mouthy and stuff, but you get with these white women that mimic and emulate what they think a black woman is, right? The mannerisms, the colloquialisms, and all of that stuff, right? They mimic that shit, but you don't want to be with a black woman because she exhibits those same traits. So we find out that LeBuick filed for divorce 3 weeks after that woman gave birth to his child. I'm like, ain't that about a motherfucker? Like, that is fucked up. This woman she is 3 weeks postpartum, and your raggedy ass going files for divorce from her. LeBuick, you ain't shit. But she says that, you know, they in a good space. They co-parent. He comes over, she cooks, or, you know, vice versa. I'm like, oh, girl, I couldn't be cordial with a person like that. That you would go and file for divorce 3 weeks after I just had a baby, your baby. Okay. That explains why last season when I kept saying, where is LeBuick right after she had that baby in that house? That explains it. He wasn't there because that dude literally had just filed for divorce. Damn. You a piece of shit. You are full. Ooh. Girl, you better than me. We wouldn't be able to talk. I wouldn't, you know, Destiny's a lot better than I am. And I got to really tip my hat off to Destiny because there is absolutely no way that I would be able to. I would have trash talked LeBuick all season. I would have run his name through the mud. But see, that's how petty I am. You want to be petty? Let's go. I can out petty you, right? But that's it for Destiny's segment. So we're gonna wrap up the episode with Lewis and Tiffany. That dress that Tiffany had on was a no. That suit Lewis had on was ill-fitted. Like, we'll get into them. That suit was ill-fitted. I just kept looking at that suit. I'm like, that suit is just so ill-fitted. For a reunion, I get that this is their first reunion, but my God, the fashion. Destiny's dress ain't the best looking dress, but at least she tried something. At least she tried. Tiffany looked like she just went to JCPenney's and said, I got an event to go to and I just need a nice dress. Looked like she got it from JCPenney's, Dillard's, you know, somewhere like that. No shade to anybody who gets dresses from there, but her dress just looked very cheap. And his suit was just very ill-fitted. Because I'm just looking, I'm like, damn, he just looks frumpy. And it was the jacket, I'm like, yeah, you couldn't bring the jacket in just a little bit because it's sagging just a little bit. Your jacket is just like this. Like, whatever. So, we talk about Tiffany and Lewis, and I will give Carlos King one fact that he said, which was true. The Love and Marriage Huntsville fans, we are an opinionated bunch. Shout out to Misha for that one. We are an opinionated bunch. I give credit where credit is due. Shout out to my friend Misha. We're an opinionated bunch, right? And it takes us a while to, but I think when it comes to us Love and Marriage Huntsville fans, yes, people call Sadaric corny, but Sadaric is corny, right? Very corny. Destiny. Last season, when we met Destiny's first half of season 2, Destiny came in a little strong, so we had our feelings about Destiny, right? But we've since warmed up to Destiny. There are people who still don't like Destiny, but there are more people who like Destiny this season, right? with Tiffany and Lewis, right? They came in. Now, and I'll be honest with you guys, when they released the cast photo this season for the cast, and I saw Tiffany and Lewis, I was like, Harpo, who are those people? And I think it was on I don't know if it was on OMFG Reality or if it was Carlos King's Instagram page that I did that. But I was just like, Harpo, who are these people, right? But I was like, you know what, I'm like, okay, we got new people. That means we got a new story. That means we have a new storyline. We have new people to learn. And hopefully, we will get something different outside of what we typically get with Melody and Martell, Maurice and Kimmy, and, Tisha and Marceau. So I was anxious to meet Tiffany and Lewis. But then when we got Tiffany and Lewis, I was like, return to sender. So Carlos asked Tiffany, has she read the comments? Because, people say she's rude, she's trifling, and she's messy. I don't know who called her woman trifling. Damn. Now I know I've said she's rude and she's messy, but damn, trifling? You know what? She is a little bit trifling though when you think about it. The stuff that she's done. So, Marceau and Tisha, they immediately chimed in, right? Marceau and Tisha were like, when it comes down to Lewis and Tiffany, that they feel that with Lewis and Tiffany, that it's bullshit. What they talk about how they're transparent, but they're not. They're giving bullshit, right? I was so here for Marceau in this segment, right? Because we talked about honesty versus transparency, right? Transparency means you can see through me. Like, I don't have to tell you anything because you know it, right? Transparency is, I know, when you say you're a transparent person to your friend group, right? That means that your friends know you well enough to know when something is wrong with you. Like my best friend, she knows anytime something is wrong with me. And she'll ask, when we're in the setting with each other, right? She knows me well enough to know, you okay? Like, you want to talk about something? Like, is everything okay? That's transparency. My best friend knows me very well to know when something is wrong, and vice versa. I know her that well to know when something is wrong, right? And I think what Lewis and Tiffany were trying to say all season was they're not transparent. What they were trying to say, they were open and honest, but you're neither open nor honest, and you're not, so you're neither one of those two. And I love the fact that Marceau checked that, right? So then here's the interesting thing, right? So Martell kept chiming in, talking about, but none of y'all are transparent. And Marceau was like, and none of us saying we want to be transparent, right? But the thing is, these two clowns over here have so many opinions about other people, but when it comes down to talking to them, it's nothing. You get nothing from them. It's a wall. It's literally nothing with them. So they're not transparent. They're not open. They're not honest. They're nothing. You can poke and pry in other people's business, but because Tiffany was like, when Tisha asked her that question about, what's the dirt on her, Tisha was like, girl, I don't know anything about you, so I don't know what's appropriate to ask versus what's inappropriate to ask. And I was like, exactly. I'm on Tisha's side. Y'all know that's a very rare occasion, right? So then, we talk about the whole situation about Monster vaping because they showed the package, right? And you guys remember in that backyard from hell that Tiffany and Lewis have, that they need to, I don't know, that little bitty ass house with that nothing grass that they got. They were talking, remember when Lewis was like, oh, it would have been a different situation had I got that shot. And Kimmy clocked that, right? It wouldn't have been no different situation. Because if you need some liquid courage to have a, quote, different conversation with Maurice, your wife was in the wrong. Your wife was in the wrong. So you needed liquid courage to do what? He's like, oh, the conversation just would have been a little bit different. No, it wouldn't have. You would have been the same that you were without the liquid courage. You would have been like, okay, yeah, my wife, I had a conversation with her and I told her that was off limits. So yeah, I'm sorry, man. You would have pulled the same shit. Like, Lewis, go to hell. So then Carlos asked the cast, are there things that they know about Tiffany and Lewis? They said, yeah, 100%. So then Kimmy says that she heard that, from a very reputable source from the Chambers of Commerce, or Chambers of Commerce, as Tisha would say, right? That she heard that little Miss Transparent over there, she got fired. She says, I didn't get fired. She says, well, the person I talked to is very, they work there and, they're very reputable. So then, once again, I'm here for Maurice in this scene, right? So Marceau. Marceau is talking about, the fact that you two have only been married for 11 months, right? And here you guys are trying to give people relationship advice. You haven't even been married that long. How can you give me, someone who's been married for years, advice on my marriage, right? Well, I was married for 5 years and I'm divorced, and so I do have a little bit of expertise in the matter. No, you don't. And Marceau said it perfectly, right? I was like, come on, Marceau. How am I on Marceau's side? How am I on Marceau and Tisha's side, right? But Marceau said it so perfectly, right? If you have all this knowledge from your past marriage, why didn't you apply that information to make that marriage work out? So once you've been in your marriage for at least 2 years, then you come talk to me. But as of right now, you have a picture perfect marriage right now, because you're 1 year in, and what are you gonna? I mean, it would be kind of embarrassing if you got divorced within 1 year distance. Like, ouch. And they were like, he ain't talking about you. And Marceau also said that, the only issue that y'all showed us in y'all marriage is the fact that he went and took your son to get a haircut and you didn't know about it. Yeah, that's not something that's major. So I was like, what? I was here for Marceau. Like, come on, Marceau. Give it up for Marceau. Y'all give it up for Marceau. You gotta give it up for Marceau in this scene. I was like, come on, Marceau. That is how you. And Lewis was trying to go back and forth with him, but I'm like, Lewis, you're getting upset, but he's literally speaking some real factual shit to you. And then Tiffany she chimed in. I'm like, girl, you and that I don't know, that ballerina dress you got on. So sit down and shut up. Well, you're already sitting down, but you should just be quiet. Be quiet. Pipe down. But that's it, you guys. Wow, this video is almost 30 minutes. I did not think I was going to talk that long about this reunion. But I will say one thing before I log off. I will say, though, that going into the Love and Marriage Huntsville season 3 reunion, finding out that it was the 3-part reunion, I was like, why do we need a 3-part reunion? But I got to give it to Carlos. Carlos is asking the great questions. He's been a good host. Like, this is what Andrew Cohen needs to do. And like on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after show, I put in the comment section that I hope Andrew Cohen asks Lisa Barlow the hard questions. Like, Andrew Cohen, you need to get Carlos King, because and I know Carlos watches all the Housewives, right? Carlos watches every Housewives city. So what you need to do is you need to get Carlos to come host your reunions, because Carlos is doing the damn thing with the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion. Like, I was dreading the reunion. I was dreading the 3-part reunion, but it's really, really good. Like, I'm pleasantly surprised how much I'm enjoying the reunion. But that is it, you guys. Please let me know what you guys thought about the reunion part 2. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified of when I drop anything else. Share the video, you guys, and until the next one, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. So the next one up will be Power Book 2 Ghost. Now, I can't tell you guys when you'll see Ghost, but you might see it either later today, well, later tonight, or first thing tomorrow morning. One of the two. You guys will see Ghost between tonight or in the morning. But I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys. Have a good one.